Hello, welcome back. I apologise for the lack of uploads recently. I've been travelling. Presently in the Canary Islands. Plus, I've had to do a few other things, but I'm back on course now. Hopefully, there's another classic short story to be uploaded very soon. I've already recorded it. That's by an author I haven't tackled before, F. Scott Fitzgerald. It's a great story. Actually, they made a movie of it, so I won't say any more, but you'll know it when you see the title. But I'm going to start today with a couple of poems from the Barrack Room Ballads by Rudyard Kipling. I first heard these ballads sung actually by an English folk singer called Peter Bellamy. It was on a disc, a record, one of the old vinyl records, and they were sung. He set them to music very successfully. I think he chose some British traditional tunes. Peter was a great advocate of British traditional folk music, so he set some of them to traditional tunes, and he also, I think, wrote a couple of the tunes himself, and it was all very well done. It was very successful within that genre. Only problem was I didn't really like his voice very much. The time when I realized how good these poems actually were was on another occasion when a friend of mine, actually, Doug Hudson, singer, comedian, Gillingham Football Club matchday announcer, and also he's just written 2 books. He sang them, and it was then that I realized how potent they were. Actually, the lyrics, the words, the poems themselves. They were written by Kipling. Well, again, they were published in the 1890s, let's put it that way. And they reflect, I think, the attitudes of the rank and file soldiers in the British Army. This, of course, was the height of the British Empire. And they reflect the attitudes, certainly the voices, the language of the members of the British Army at that time. The first is a poem called Cells, which is about a young soldier goes out, gets pissed, as they do, got arrested, as they do, for fighting and being drunk and disorderly, and he's in his cell, and then he's lamenting his situation. But he knows what he's like. He knows he's going to do it again at some point. Gin apparently is his downfall. The second one is called Danny Deever. Danny Deever. That's a different kettle of fish entirely. That's about, well, not entirely, but it's much more serious. About a soldier there's going to be a public execution of Danny Deever, a soldier who murdered another soldier, and the poem is a kind of dialogue between a young rank and file member of the army with a colour sergeant, and both are really dreading, to be honest, what they've got to watch. I mean, a public hanging was not, it was not a nice thing to have to attend. They were obliged to attend these. So anyway, I don't think there's too much more to say about these 2 poems from the Barrack Room Ballads by Rudyard Kipling. The first is called Cells, and the second is Danny Deever. I've an head like a concertina, tongue like a button stick, mouth like an old potato, and I'm more than a little sick. But I've had my fun with the corporal's guard. I've made the cinders fly, and I'm here in the clink for a thundering drink, blacking the corporal's eye. with a second-hand overcoat under my head and a beautiful view of the yard. It's pack drill for me and a fortnight CB for drunk and resisting the guard. Mad drunk and resisting the guard. Struth, but I socked it the mard. So it's pack drill for me and a fortnight CB for drunk resisting the guard. I started on canteen porter, finished on canteen beer. But a dose of gin that a mate slipped in, it was that brought me here. That and an extra double guard that rubbed my nose in the dirt. But I fell away with the corporal's stock and the best of the corporal's shirt. I left my cap in a public house, my boots in the public road, and Lord knows where, and I don't care, my belt and my tunic goad. They'll stop my pay and cut away the stripes I used to wear. But I left my mark on the corporal's face, and I think he'll keep it there. My wife, she cries at the barrack gates. My kid in the barrack yard. It ain't that I mind the orderly room, it's that cuts so hard. I'll swear my oath before 'em both that I will sure abstain. But soon as I'm in with a mate and gin, I know I'll do it again. With a second-hand overcoat under my head and a beautiful view of the yard. It's pack drill for me and a fortnight CB for drunk and resisting the guard. Mad drunk and resisting the guard. Struth, but I socked it the mard. So it's pack drill for me and a fortnight CB for drunk and resisting the guard.
"What are the bugles blowing for?" said Files on parade. "To turn you out, the colour sergeant said. "What makes you look so white, said Files on parade. "I'm dreading what I've got to watch," the colour sergeant said. "For they're hanging Danny Deever, you can hear the Dead March play. The regiment's in Hollow Square, they're hanging him today. They've taken of his buttons off and cut his stripes away. And they're hanging Danny Deever in the morning." "What makes the rear rank breathe so hard?" said Files on parade. It's bitter cold, the colour sergeant said. "What makes that front rank man fall down?" said Files on parade. Touch her, son, the colour sergeant said. "They're hanging Danny Deever, they're marching of him round. They've halted Danny Deever by his coffin on the ground. And he'll swing in half a minute for a sneaking, shooting hound. Oh, they're hanging Danny Deever in the morning." "His cot was right-hand cot to mine," said Files on parade. "He's sleeping out and far tonight," the colour sergeant said. "I've drunk his beer a score of times," said Files on parade. "He's drinking bitter beer alone," the colour sergeant said. "They're hanging Danny Deever. You must mark him to his place, for he shot a comrade sleeping. You must look him in the face. 900 of his county and the regiment's disgrace, while they're hanging Danny Deever in the morning." "What's that so black agin the sun?" said Files on parade. "It's Danny fighting hard for life," the colour sergeant said. "What's that whimpers overhead?" said Files on parade. "It's Danny's soul that's passing now," the colour sergeant said. "For they're done with Danny Deever. You can hear the quick step play. The regiment's in column and they're marching us away. Oh, the young recruits are shaking and they'll want their beer today, after hanging Danny Deever in the morning.